When was the last time you reviewed your employer-sponsored investment and benefit plans? Do you have a process to conduct regular reviews? Have you shared the details with your advisor? Today, I want to talk about why this is often overlooked yet a crucial variable in your financial plan. Hi, I'm Chad Butnery, Wealth Advisor with the Andrews Group at Asante Capital Management. In this video, I want to tell you a story about Jim and Sally, who became clients of ours a few years ago. Sally and Jim had been saving and investing for a number of years in various ways. They had TFSAs and RESPs at their local bank. They each had employer-sponsored pension and benefit plans, and Jim had accumulated some investments through an online discount brokerage. They were looking for advice on how to bring it all together. They were hoping to minimize tax, organize their estate plans, and review their investment strategy. But most of all, they wanted to know when they could retire, as they were hoping to spend more time with their children and reduce the amount of stress in their lives. Work had become stressful for both of them, and they were considering different options. Sally and Jim were looking for a game plan, and they got referred to us from a long-standing client. For the purposes of our video today, I'd like to focus primarily on the client's investments and benefits through their employers. The first thing we did when we started working with Jim and Sally was to gather all of their information. It turns out each of them had 2 to 3 different savings plans at work. Jim had a defined contribution pension plan and a deferred profit sharing plan. Sally had a group RSP plan and an employer stock purchase plan. Further, they both had disability and life insurance. And Sally had an old defined benefit pension plan that she nearly forgot about. Going through this exercise, we made a few major discoveries. First, Sally had not been taking full advantage of her employer stock purchase plan. Sally was only contributing 2.5% of her salary, which was the maximum eligible for matching when she started at the company, and she could now be contributing 5%. She was leaving a free 2.5% match from her employer on the table. Additionally, she had amassed a significant amount of employer stock, much of which had now vested. We transferred the vested portion into her tax-free savings account as she had significant room available, and we diversified it. Second, while Sally had accumulated a significant balance in her group RSP plan, it had been many years since she assessed her investment strategy within the plan. She had set it up a number of years ago and never really monitored it or adjusted it. This led to her taking on significantly more risk than she realized, which could have compromised her retirement goals. Oh, and remember that defined benefit plan that Sally almost forgot about? That was going to provide her $900 per month of cash flow for life indexed to inflation. While this wasn't going to make or break her retirement decision, it was nevertheless an important piece of the puzzle that hadn't been considered. Now let's talk about Jim. Jim had been contributing to his RSP, his defined contribution pension plan, and his employer had been contributing to a deferred profit sharing plan for him. Jim was quickly using up all of his registered account room that he had previously accumulated when he wasn't saving as aggressively. In fact, he was on track to over-contribute to his registered plan in the next year or so without even realizing it. Luckily, we were able to identify this in time and prioritize the plans that were most beneficial for him. Within Jim's defined contribution pension plan, most of his funds were invested in a 2023 target date fund, which was set up at the time of joining the plan. This essentially means that it was positioned very conservatively with few equities, even though Jim had a long investing time horizon throughout retirement. Adjusting this to a more balanced approach increased Jim's expected return significantly into the future. It was absolutely important to review all of Jim and Sally's plans, and we made several strategy adjustments which benefited them as they transitioned toward retirement, including diversifying Sally's investment strategy, maximizing the free money that their plans offered, adjusting their tax strategy to put them in a much more advantageous position, and we decreased the amount of life insurance they were paying for as it no longer aligned with their goals. While each of these adjustments was helpful for Jim and Sally, The most important observation came after we pulled all of these pieces together. Our analysis showed that they were in a pretty good financial position overall, and they could, in fact, decide to retire now. I still remember telling them this and seeing some of the stress melt from their faces. Their shoulders relaxed as they realized that they didn't have to push nearly as hard as they had been. Jim and Sally actually didn't decide to retire right away. While the thought was appealing, they felt like they needed time to decide what they wanted to do in retirement, and they weren't ready to pull the trigger just yet. Sally had a conversation with her manager and transitioned to working 3 days per week. Jim ended up reducing his responsibilities, which allowed him to be more present with family and taking more vacation. These changes were invaluable to Jim and Sally. As you can see from this short case study, whether it's a defined contribution pension plan, a deferred profit sharing plan, or your life and disability insurance held through your employer, these plans can often be a substantial component of your overall financial plan. They should be considered as part of the tax and investment strategies pursued each year. I find that too many people separate their work and personal plans, often leading to missed opportunities, bad decisions, or at the extreme, not making the life-changing decisions that can lead to health, happiness, and positive changes in life. I'm Chad Butner with Asante Capital Management. Thanks for watching. If it's time for you or someone you care about to review your employer-sponsored pension plans, please reach out. We're always happy to help.